How's it going, guys? Uno Gaming here. Just another game. This was a 2v2 that I played. Custom game. Um, Normal funds. Myself playing Slaanesh. I've got a Khorne ally. And we're going against Cathay and Nurgle. So, my build, instead of actually bringing Nakari, who I'm quite fond of, I decided to bring a Herald of Slaanesh. I've got two cultists, both fully decked out on steeds. And then we've just got some House Scourges for a front line. I didn't expect Cathay to bring two Terracotta Sentinels and the Astromancers. I assumed it'd be a more artillery based build, but that's the beauty of Total War. Everyone tries different things. So my Herald of Slaanesh I brought on the Exalted Chariot, which we'll be able to see the performance of a little bit later. It's a bit of an unorthodox pick. I don't see it very often, but I've got a front line. We've got the former orders moving up, something I do quite often, and my ally went quite heavy on the Chaos Warriors of Khorne, followed by Minotaurs. I was hoping to sneak both my Herald and the Cultists up round on the left and in these trees, with the Seekers there as well. I was hoping to get a flank over here, just to sort of give me a chance if they buckled down on this objective. I expected that sort of play from Nurgle. That's a nice sort of box on the objective. So this is what I was trying to play against. I was expecting a lot more Plague Bearers, but he went quite Nurgling heavy. Cathay build, like I mentioned earlier, surprised me quite a lot, the double Terracotta Sentinel. Double Terracotta Sentinel, double Jade Lancers, and double Astromancer. So I straight away sneak my Lord and my Cultists into these trees, hoping just to get a decent flank in a little bit. Now this was a misplay on my behalf. My ally sends his Flesh Hounds to sit on this objective and some Blood Crushers here. I'd sent some Seekers over and it was completely unnecessary. They then get tuckered back over here because I send the sort of different move command. Whereas realistically I wanted my Seekers over here hiding in these bushes, because I was hoping if they were just going to leave this objective with Nurglings on, I'd be able to send them over and use that Slaanesh speed just to take it. So going over here, looking at what I could see, the double Terracotta Sentinels, the Nurglings, I realised was going to be quite a difficult fight. My ally straight away leaves two squads of Furies here to fight against the Nurgle ones. I decided the best thing I can do is get my own squad in, and then hopefully be able to give them the edge in that fight and we can get rid of the Air Force. So in my head I'm just waiting for them to push a little bit closer from these Terracotta Sentinels to be on the objective, and then I could sort of look at making my move. My front line's in position, getting ready to again move them onto the objective just to contest it. Sat here eagerly waiting with my double Cultists and my Herald. And then we've got some Flesh Hounds of Khorne and some Chaos Furies waiting here as well. So, going forward from here, we've got the Minotaurs following up, and the Flesh Hounds of Khorne being left off that position. Personally, I'd prefer he left the Flesh Hounds of Khorne on there and brought the Blood Crushers up. So I did summon some Fiends to support my Seekers, because I wanted to go assist my ally down there. A bit of a lapse in micro on my behalf. I pull these over here and I don't notice that this is actually quite a good fight. I'm hoping I can squeeze down there before the Beast of Nurgle gets down there. But again, I'm really just trying to learn at first how to abuse that Slaanesh speed, just to make it a little bit difficult. My enemy reacts quite quickly, bringing out Toads, some Nurglings and some Plague Bearers, just to try and stop me. But luckily I do manage to squeeze just past this. I'm hoping to abuse the Musk off the Fiends just to lower melee defense, and then also to lower the defense. The melee defense, the melee attack, sorry, by 5. This blob fight here I knew was going to be extremely tough. The Fury fight, I end up losing. I do take out one squad of their Furies, and I did wish my allies, Chaos Furies of Khorne, could come and just sweep those up. But I decide the time's now, and I send both Cultists in and the Herald just to disrupt the backline a little bit ideally to take out these Celestial Dragon Crossbowmen. Both of them are quite expensive units, so if I can get rid of those nice and early, it should just pin it in my favour a little bit. The front liners are going bad, but again, this is a complete lapse in my motto. What I should have done is move my infantry up, the spears onto the Terracotta Sentinels, and the swordsmen to help push back the Forsaken. I do summon a Chaos Squad, a squad of Chaos Furies just to disrupt these, while I push through some Nurgles. I go for a Goon attempt on Kugath, not knowing that Kugath actually does a fair amount of damage back. We do get a Demonet's Slaanesh summon. Again, just running these into the archers, get these shut down as soon as possible. We get hit by the nasty corruption buff, losing 40 armour, well, melee defence, but I do use Locus of Grace. We pop all buffs on the cultists, and then we also use Torment Blade on Kugath. A nice ability from the Herald of Slaanesh, using the Pit of Shades just to do a good bit of damage on these squads that are bunched up. The fight down here went extremely poorly. At this point I've managed to get rid of both squads of Jade Lancers, but the follow up from the Toads, the Beasts of Nurgle and the Plague Bearers, at this point I should have already pulled out, but I left my squads here way too long. At least I'm getting killed. Up here, again I'm still just trying to get a few goon. We're already at 1455 worth of gold on the Herald. Not bad, and the cultists 212 and 186. Not really the best off them. I do drop a pendulum with it doing minimal damage. An arrow on my side, a Pit of Shades or something like that probably would have been better there. My idea here is with this gooning squad, I'm just trying to clean up the squads, pull off the ones that are already broken. I've got two squads of spears and this Terracotta Sentinel. This is well played by my enemy, and just a huge amount of damage. Obviously by using Mao Ying and then also two Astromancers. She gets us at Master of the Elemental Winds. Yep, and it just absolutely insanes her, buffs her magic damage by, it's about 100%, so really good ability. We follow up here with our second squad of Demonette summons. Another Pit of Shades over there on the Celestial Dragon Crossbowman. I'm just trying to weave off the sort of the heavy mass units, just leave the Terracotta Sentinels here if possible. I completely lost the fight for this victory point, and I did notice there was a squad of Chaos Furies sat right at the back on this point, and he's now moved to Forsaken Mound to try and take this point. Again, some Minotaurs just sat there admiring the view. Same as these guys, but these guys have took a heavy battering. At this point we're going pretty deep just to try and clear up. With Kugath still just throwing away. Back here, Khorne is trying to push them off, but we do have a great and clean one. Absolute raid boss to try and chop through. And now I did summon an Exalted Seeker Chariot, a unit I've never used before, but is quite expensive. Now, granted, I know I was not using this squad correctly. And she definitely should have been pulled out at this point and then charged somewhere else. The same sort of idea. I should have made a Goonie squad with that and my Herald and just picked off sort of Jade Warriors, Crossbowmen, and just sort of picked my fights a lot better. In general, what I've noticed is when I watch other videos of Slaanesh, my ability on Slaanesh is not very good at the moment, just because I am not as good as getting those hit and run tactics, hitting the squads that are weak. Instead, I tend to get too heavy on this grind through Nurgle, and Slaanesh is never going to win the grind through Nurgle. There's just too much healing. Another great cast here by Mao Ying, just doing more damage to Khorne ally. Up to 338 kills, nearly 3k in gold gained. Absolute MVP. The Terracotta Sentinels as well, putting in absolute work. The Great and Clean one making his way to the middle. Not a welcome sight, because like I said, absolute raid boss, still 10,000 HP, and it's going to take a lot to kill him. Luckily, we are quite ahead on victory point tickets. I do dispatch the Seekers and the Herald over here, just to try and help the Exalted and to push back this area here. I do manage to get rid of one Jade Crossbows, and then also push off of another Jade Warriors, and then I automatically look to pushing down here and taking this point. Because even if we can't at this point, I notice this fight here is quite lost, so I'm hoping to draw some of the units. A mistake by mine, I leave a cultist Slaanesh just sat here getting absolutely pummeled, and the cultists I really didn't use to the best of their ability. It's a big thing I've learnt with Slaanesh. I really need to notice the things that are sat around doing nothing, and then also learn when to get them in and out. I did notice the Forsaken did take this point. Managed to get some Seekers over there just to dispatch them and take this point back. This again was a complete overcommitment by myself. There's no reason for me to send 4 squads. The Seekers were by far enough. I noticed this at the last moment and I pull those units away and push them towards the middle. I am learning in domination that it's very important where you allocate your resources, and at the moment I over allocate. I did summon my second Furies here just to try and chop through the Jade Lancers just a little bit quicker, knowing that a second squad are coming back. I did my job here though, and I did manage to capture it. That was exactly what I came over for. There's the capture there, just to keep us ahead. Trying to keep a 2 capture because the middle is lost. There's no way we displace a Great and Clean One, 2 Terracotta Sentinels, Mao Ying, and the Beast of Nurgle there. With the healing and the threat of the Terracotta Sentinels, the magic, I knew this point was lost. I decided to fodder squads over there anyway, just to try and keep them there. I knew if I could keep the majority of the forces in the middle and keep hold of the right hand side and the left, I'd only have to hold it for a little bit longer before I knew that, you know, it would have been a game in our favour. I do manage to save this cultist, and I use him to go keep an eye on this point and decide that my Seekers are probably better off used elsewhere. I do notice there is some ripe fruit for the picking here in the form of free range squads, and that's where I decided my Seekers would be best off going. Absolutely love these models. I think the Slaanesh models are some of the best. Again, getting some Demonettes to push through and some Furies, just trying to shut the ranged firepower down. Cause a few casualties, get a few wins where I can. Get an absolute horde of Khorne Furies pour into there. This again builds more on the overcommitment. I've got 2 squads of Exalted Demonettes of Slaanesh fighting some Jade Warriors. I could have pulled one of the Exalted off, sent them up here and tried to push the rest of the forces out. My opponent sent Mao Ying over just to try and kill my Herald. I'm hoping just to buy a little bit of time because we're about to win. I'm going to fast forward a little bit, again just feeding some Marauders into the middle, just trying to keep the fight lively in the middle. This blob would be impossible for me to displace. I definitely feel like my Lord choices have not been best lately. I definitely think it might have been better with an Exalted Lord. But I feel like while there was quite a few mistakes made this game, it did show a bit of promise. We did get 3,641 gold on the Herald, so she more than paid for herself. The thing that did disappoint me was the Exalted Seeker Chariot. I don't know if it was definitely that I didn't use it as well as it could be used, but I also felt like it just didn't do as much as I expected. So probably not smart. I'd look to take out again soon, but love the Seekers. I think they did really well, and then again with the Fiends, real staple units. Thank you for watching the video, guys, and I look forward to seeing you on the next one.